Well, everybody, a healthy lawn starts with spring maintenance. Winter can alter soil pH, compact the soil, and create conditions friendly to weeds and disease. So what can you do when winter's receding snow reveals bare spots, invasive plants, and other problems with your patch of green? Boy, oh boy, I know this all too well. So who do we have here with us? We have landscape design artist and TV host Denis Flanagan. You are our expert, and boy, oh boy, you help us all, and thank you for joining.
Very nice to see you again.
All right, so we're going to talk about the Canada Bloom Show, which is coming up. So it's kind of ideal. When's that happening?
It opens this Friday, the 13th.
Okay, March 13th.
It's on for 10 days to the 22nd.
Nice. All right, and what can people expect to see there?
It's a really different show this year. It's really quite stunning.
You say that every year.
I do, but the reason this year is exciting is, number one, the theme is Let's Play. So we've got 20 landscape designers, 20 landscape contractors who have taken that theme and done 20 different things with it. So we have chessboards incorporated into gardens. We have exercise gyms. We have places for kids to play. We have adult play, whatever that means. But anyway, we have 20 spectacular gardens that took that theme and did something quite interesting. And so it's sort of bringing the fun back into gardening.
Well, it's not just the fun back into gardening, but can we get outside?
We can get outside, yes. Well, and that is the big theme. That was this thing about having an outdoor gym. Why have a gym in a dark basement, right? Put it out in the garden. Do exercise, breathe in fresh air, take in the sun rays, and that's the whole concept of moving outside. And I think one of the fascinating things this year is we've sort of moved the location to the back of the building.
Okay.
Which did two things. It's no longer, in previous years, we've had the underground parking underneath, which was the weight restrictions. So no weight restrictions this year, which means someone has built a giant inukshuk out of stone, and it's wonderful. And the other thing with the new location is the ceiling is lower. And so about $200,000 has been invested in garden lighting. So if anyone is out there, and this is the year they really want to do spectacular stuff in their garden at night,
you're going to see
you're going to see how to do it and learn how to do it.
All right. Well, that leads me to my next question. What's trending in gardening and landscape design?
Yeah, garden lighting for sure. This whole outdoor lifestyle. I was at the show this morning. There's a couple of spectacular outdoor kitchens and outdoor TV areas, outdoor rec rooms. So really people are being encouraged to spend a lot more time outside. We've sort of gone through a 10-year generation of people hiding and playing on computer. Not that you can't play on a computer outside, but how much nicer to be outside and do it.
Here. All right. Well, what should we do with our lawns to prepare for spring?
Okay. Step number one is don't step. What I mean by that is what's going to happen this week is the sun shines, some snow will melt, and people
stay off it.
Yeah, they're going to be a little too anxious. And if you get on that wet grass, you're going to compact it. So stay off it a little bit. Come to Canada Blooms instead. And when it's dried up a little bit, that's the time to get out. Do some gentle raking, get rid of that winter garbage that's collected in amongst the lawn blades, open up the soil, aerate it.
And when you say aerate, what do you mean?
Well, rent an aerating machine to punch holes into the grass. We waste so much money on fertilizer, and it doesn't do anything. It just runs off the surface.
Okay, we need to go there, because you say this every year, and we get a lot of questions and people going, okay, hang on. This is all against everything that I'm told when I go into nurseries and when I go to different places. And I say, well, yeah, but they're trying to sell you stuff. Like they're a business. Let's be real. So please explain the best thing that you can do come spring. And I did it, and it's proof it worked. Here I was blowing my brains out, buying all these, different seeds that fast, grow faster, and honestly, as soon as I did the air, the aerating, and just rented that machine, it was far less, and it had greater results.
Greater results, because what's happened over the last 4 to 5 months, all that weight of the snow, the frost in the ground, it's really made that ground hard. And what grass needs is to be opened up. It needs to be aerated.
Breathe.
So that's a great way of determining it. It's got to breathe. It's got to open up the pores so that any natural rain, any fertilizer that you are going to put on is going to get down into the ground at least 3 inches and feed the roots of the grass. grass doesn't take in anything through its blades. It's all underneath the ground, so you got to aerate it.
Okay. Once we aerate, then what do we do, Dennis?
Then you can fertilize for sure.
Is there a specific kind of fertilizer? Because that gets confusing too.
Yeah. When you look at any bag of fertilizer, it has 3 numbers on it. The first number should be the highest in the spring, the nitrogen. That's what gives grass a kick. If you've bought a house and maybe that lawn has been not looked after over a few years.
Neglected.
Not a bad idea to use a liquid fertilizer, because that has an instant effect on a lawn. Like within a few days, it's going to green up that grass. So for people that are taking over a house that it has been neglected, it needs a bit of a kick, and that's what the liquid fertilizer does. And then if there's patches from winter kill, from dogs, from kids playing, grubs, you're going to get these bare patches. If you leave those bare patches, before you can do anything about it, all those little weed seeds are hiding in the bushes, and they're going to jump in and take over those patches. So, principle being, the quicker you can fill in those patches, the quicker you can crowd out the weed seeds, the much better lawn you're going to have for the rest of the season. So, a little bit of effort now, sort of during late April, mid to late April, depending on the weather and where you live, is going to pay dividends that you won't have to work as hard during the summer, which is kind of nice. Then you can play.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to go back a bit and say if we had prepared in the fall, because you reminded me that is the most important time of the year to get your garden prepped and ready.
Yes.
Explain that again for why fall maintenance is so key for our lawns.
So because of the long, hard winter that we have in Canada, the grass really does suffer during the wintertime. So if we strengthen that grass in the fall time, preparing it for the winter, it's going to go through the winter. It's going to resist some of the problems that come with winter problems, with frost, snow, salt from the highways. So it's just like us taking vitamin. Right. You know, what happened? You get a cold. It's a bit late to take the vitamins, right?
Yeah, so take them in advance.
So what you're doing is making your lawn, your garden healthier, so that if we do have the odd bug, we do have the odd problem, your likelihood you're going to survive it better. And that's the principle of fall-time gardening.
All right. Now, if you're just tuning in, I have Celebrity Gardener. That's what I refer to you as, because you are. I mean, you're such a fantastic TV host. And more importantly, you're all about educating. And who am I talking about? Well, that's Denis Flanagan. And we're going to talk now about weeds, because we get a lot of questions about that. So in general, how do we best, I know you gave great tips just now about the spring and fall, how to handle our gardens, but really, how do we control those weeds?
Probably the biggest question in gardening, and has made everyone rethink things since some of the pesticide bans that happened a few years ago, which in the overall scheme of things was a good thing for gardeners. It's made us step back a little bit and look at our gardens. And what that means is, again, being ahead of the weeds. So once a weed is established and got 5 inches high, good luck trying to get rid of it, because it's then going to set seed and your problem's going to be 1,000-fold. So as soon as get into the habit of a couple of times a week walking around your garden, knowing your plants, knowing your soil, and as soon as you see a weed seedling appear, get a garden hoe and get rid of that tiny seedling. And it's so easy when it's small, but it's something that we sort of don't get into the habit of doing. So attacking it when it's really early, having a look at some of the products out there like corn gluten and some of the safe soaps that you can use, horticultural vinegar. So these are all products that have come to light since the ban of the chemicals that we used to rely on so much.
Absolutely. And that's a great thing. But there are other options available now. And that's what nurseries are so great for, because they do hold and carry a lot of choices. And you just have to explain. In some cases, you can bring, the different flowers or weeds or problems that you're having, or even a sample of your soil, and they can really help to advise you as to what you need.
Oh, yeah. Anyone that's worked in a garden center knows the little Ziploc bag syndrome. Someone's coming in with a bug or a weed or something they want identified, which is fantastic because, as you said earlier, it's all about education. We would much rather people getting the right advice, getting the right products than wasting their money. And the best way to do that is to identify it. Take photos, and the great digital cameras that are out there now. You can just take your cell phone and take a picture of a weed, take a picture of a black spot on a plant, bring it into a garden center and get some really solid advice.
And it's amazing because the resources available now more than ever. I mean, it's just a passion, it's a hobby, but it's really now become a thing, especially when we're talking curb appeal in people's homes. I mean, first impression is everything. So even if you're not what we call an avid gardener, or it's not something that you love to do, you kind of have no choice because you're taking such an important investment, and you're devaluing, it by not taking the time to give it the right opportunity in terms of the gardens, the plants, the flowers. Every little bit helps. So everybody has had to now take an interest because it does protect your investment, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. My son and daughter-in-law just bought a house, and guess who they tagged along was Dad to come and have a look at the gardens before they put the final offer in to make sure, because they want, they wanted to make sure they were buying the right thing.
Absolutely.
And so, when everyone else was in the house, I was trudging around the garden, having a look at the trees and evaluate.
Well, you are a wealth of information. And more importantly, I mean, you are involved with the Landscape Ontario Horticultural Trades Association. I mean, you have just a phenomenal background. You've done so much. Educating is key to you. So how can people reach out to you?
Certainly through our website, through landscapeontario.com.
Okay.
And if you can't reach me, we also partner with the Master Gardeners Association, which is a fabulous volunteer association across the country. And if you just want to send us a gardening question, within a couple of days, we'll answer that question for you through that association. So
there you have it.
Yeah, it's
no excuse.
Good resource. It's a good resource, and thank you for saying that I've got a lot of experience. I'm only 22.
Well, you certainly look 22.
Well,
well, more importantly, Landscape Ontario, it really is an important entity, and I think people need to check it out because the resources there is huge. So landscapeontario.com,
absolutely.
And we'll make sure that we really zoom in on your sweatshirt because it's right there.
Can I ask you a question, Eric?
Of course.
You can always tell a lot about a person's character when you ask them if they were going to be a flower or a tree, what would they be?
Easy. Daisy.
Oh, why?
I just love daisies. They're simple. I think they're friendly. I think they grow whether they're wild. I mean, they kind of grow everywhere. So they seem to get along with everybody, no?
So that sums you up. You're wild, friendly, and a white daisy means that you're community spirited.
Yay.
So there you go.
So I have to ask you, what flower would you be?
Oh, you wouldn't want to know.
No, now I really want to know, and so does everybody else.
Next show.
Oh, you're really going to leave us hanging?
Yeah.
You don't need to give the answer, meaning the explanation. We'll come up to our own. But what is the flower? There has to be one.
Okay. It's a tree, and it's called a Metasequoia glyptrostoboides, and it's a dawn redwood, and because they're magnificent and they last forever. So there you go.
See, and that explains you. You are magnificent, and your legacy will last on forever.
Look at you.
How's that? Love fest. Thanks for joining us, Dennis.
Thank you.